Hi everyone. Good evening. Thank you for joining for the first Ask Me Anything AMA session with our super special guest, Peter Harrison. Peter is from Palisades Foundation, and this is the first AMA session that we are doing today. GitHub Externship is an initiative about helping young students like yourself interact with industry leaders like Peter Harrison, build upon their projects, learn from them in a live project environment. Over the period of last 1 year or so, this is the second cohort of GitHub Externship. The first cohort had almost about 70 odd interns or externs as we call them as placed in about 20, 18 to 20 organizations. This year we are trying to take that number, maybe 3x. Maybe we're trying to do about 150 to 100 plus externs. There are about 29 30 organizations that have already come. Without taking much of time, because we are scheduled these AMA sessions back to back, I'll hand over this stage and mic to Peter for him to talk about the project and his expectations and what is he expecting from talent like you. Over to you, Peter. Thank you so much.
Hello, everybody. Thanks a lot for spending the time or taking the time to talk to me. I want to give you a little background about the whole project and what we're trying to do, and I think that'll give you a good idea of how to apply, etc. There are a number of things that. So, firstly, let me talk about the Palisades Foundation. We are a nonprofit organization based in California, and we were originally created to help students in Jamaica, mostly students in the university system, get more involved with open source projects. And we started with a number of projects, and over the years, the last 5 years, we have managed to filter that down to only about three, and they're all related to Talawa. And if you have gone to our website at palisades.org, you will see information related to this. Uh, Talawa was created originally to try and see how we could improve the relationships between organizations, community organizations such as sports clubs, in some cases small businesses, as well as um, religious institutions and just generally community outreach organizations to have better communications with their membership and also within their communities. So the Talawa app is a mobile app. It works on Flutter, and we have tried to make it functional both in the Android world and also in the iOS world. And what it does is that it combines a number of features that I think you'd find very interesting. It has a chat function. It has a news feed. So the chat is we're trying to get that to be very similar to like what WhatsApp does. Has a news feed very similar to like Instagram. It has a calendaring system so that people can create events and have groups related to that. And it's generally trying to make sure that people can have a better understanding of their own communities. So there are three repositories. If you go to github.com/Palisades Foundation, you will see the various projects that we have. So the first one is Talawa, which is the mobile app. Then we have the the API, which runs on Node.js with a MongoDB backend, and the queries from the mobile app to the API are all done in using GraphQL. And then there is also a third repository which also has the Talawa admin. And so what we wanted to do is that the mobile app doesn't have all the administrative functions in there, but um, the the admin does. And I'll be sharing my screen shortly with some of the GitHub repositories that you can go to, and then also with the documentation as well. And then we also have a Talawa documentation website, which you should all be familiar with. So if you go to the Talawa, the Palisades Foundation GitHub website, you will see the list of repositories that we have. And as you can see here, one of them is Talawa, which is the mobile app. We have a number of issues that we suggest that you can take a look at. There are issues related to various types of testing that we need to get done, and also for features that we would like to see. Some of these issues that you have here, you'll see points assigned to them. And what we're trying to do is to make sure that students get familiar with the various issues through the testing regimes so that they can have a better understanding of what works and what doesn't work for us. If you go to the issues page and you click on the pinned issues, you will see a link to student internship programs. And this will give you a rough idea as to what you can do and not do on the website in terms of creating the issues. It leads you to the contributing.md files. It tells you about the methodology that we want you to follow. Tells you that we don't want to have poor quality issues or relatively meaningless issues. An issue in which you're doing a typo fix is not good enough. We need to have something meaningful as well. And so I would generally tend to make you go to these websites or to the Talawa site. There's also the Talawa API set of issues, and I'm going to be showing you some of these things, but they're all more or less the same. Every single issues section has a link to the internship programs, a link to the low quality issues, etc. And you can go through, you'll see that they have various links. And when you get assigned one of these issues, we ask that you get assigned to them through the GitHub interface. We will assign you and give you the GitHub Externship label as well. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you is that on every single repository, there's a link right underneath the About. So you'll see it here, and you will see it, let's see, where else? Right here, you'll also see it here. And this gives a link to our documentation website. And I would recommend that you just take a quick read of this, but all the documentation is under this docs link. It talks about what Talawa is, tells you what the Palisades Foundation does, gives you an overview of the architecture, what it looks like, the admin portal, the mobile app, the API backend, and the databases, etc. And then, probably most importantly for the students, I would suggest that you click down here on the internships page and take a look at the GitHub Externship, and you will see information about what we're doing. There are important links about the GitHub Externship itself, how to be eligible. We tell you to review the website. We have an externship document that you may want to take a look at. There's also information on Talawa on our YouTube channel, so please take a look at that. And there are a number of other things that are here that I think you should take a look at. One of the things that I would also suggest is that you get involved with our Slack channel. And so I will just bring up Slack very quickly so that you can see. We have a very active Slack channel. There's a general linkage here that you'll see. We have a GSOC. Well, not so much GSOC. That's not. Here we have a fairly active community, as you can see. There are people constantly talking about Talawa and what they want to get done. And so the way to get into this GitHub, into our Slack channel, is to go to slack.palisades.org There's a link there that you can click on and you can get into our Slack channel and start asking questions. So there are two methods to get in contact with us. One, through the issues themselves. Two, through the Slack channel. And I think that'll be very useful. So let's just go to the YouTube website so that you can actually see what I'm talking about in terms of the channels so that you can get some more information. So if I go here and go to the Palisades Foundation, here's the link here, and then we have a number of playlists. And with the playlists, you can see information about Talawa. And I'm just going to put this on pause here. But you can see we have information on a demo day, how to get started with Talawa. We have final presentations from various students we've had in the past. We have a Talawa overview for the GitHub Externship for 2021. This was for the summer cohort. So please take a look at that. And you can also see the before and after activities on Talawa and prior presentations. So the Talawa repository has been live for the last maybe about 3 or 4 years. We really want to see how we can get the code more and more reliable. We want to have a number of features. And talking about features, you can click here and we have a number of ideas. So underneath in the internship link, you click on ideas and you'll see areas that we want to have some amount of work on or think that people can start thinking about. We want to improve installation and setup, better chat functionality, test coverage, and things like this. So though I mentioned on the repositories having individual issues and points, don't be limited to that. We need to see what your ideas are. We want to make sure that these operational considerations, the membership management, event management, donations, and things like that are handled and handled well. So include these things in your ideas. Don't just say, I want to do something like this. If you have a better idea or a completely different idea, then we're always looking for new ideas on what we're trying to do. One of the things that we've tried as much as possible is to make the environment as inclusive as possible. And one of the ways in which we've done that is through the Slack channel. If you ask questions there, people will definitely answer, both existing and prior participants in the various repositories that we have. When we started with getting involved with the GitHub Externship earlier this year, we only had one person based in India to help out. Now we have maybe 4 or 5 people. And so, whereas before there was a 12 or maybe even a 14 to 15 hour time difference between most of the people who are familiar with Talawa and the various interfaces and the applications, now there are people within your own time zone that you can work with. And you will see them listed as people who have approved pull requests in the past. So most of those people who have been involved in some of the closed pull requests. So let's just take a look at that really quickly. So if I change the open pull request to closed here, and you will probably see, if you click on any one of these links, these are the people who have been reviewers. Those would be people who would be probably participating with you in the program this year. So even if they don't get in contact with you, just go on the Slack channel and ask questions. Not everybody's in your time zone, so just if you're going to be asking questions, make sure you ask about 2 or 3 people just to be on the safe side. And I think that will help a great deal with with the experience that you've had.
Hi, thank you, Peter. There are many questions that have come, but I would want you to address the specific question on how would time zones be managed.
Right.
How would the reportage of these projects that these externs potentially would be giving to you?
Very, very, very good question, like I mentioned. Like I said already, we have all the mentors that we've identified for the GitHub Externship are based in India right now. So that should not be an issue for any of the students. Um, the persons that are, if you take a look at those pull requests, unfortunately, the GitHub names, the GitHub handles don't match their names, so it's difficult to tell whether it's an Indian name or not. But they are there. And I have made sure that I've got in contact with them to make sure that they will be available to help. So don't worry about that. And they've been many of them are very fresh from doing coding. As a matter of fact, we have a weekly call with all our mentors, and we send out meeting notes and goals for the various mentors that we have. And so they are all very aware of what we're trying to achieve. And once again, you don't have to worry about the time zones. That issue has been completely solved for the winter cohort, so you don't have to worry.
So, to everyone, we'll have Indian mentors working with you, and therefore time management would not be a challenge, as explained by Peter. How do they contact you, Peter? I mean, I know you're on the Discord channel already, and we're urging these externs, potential externs, to join on that Discord channel for them to ask any sort of questions that you have. Is there any other way that they can reach you?
Yeah, the best way to get in contact with us is through that Slack channel. Almost everybody who has been a participant the in the projects is on that Slack channel. And just go straight to it. Once again, it's slack.palisades.org, and that will be where you should be taking a look at. Let's see. Can I just go through some of these questions really quickly? Because
Yeah, yeah.
I see a whole
I said, yeah, that will
yeah,
save time.
yeah, because there are dozens and dozens of them. All right. Well, firstly, thanks everybody. So I'll go with Freena's question first. What do you need to work on to do work on a project? Please just go to the issues, take a look at them, ask questions about clarification. Don't be afraid. Go to our Slack channel and ask questions about it. I think that'll help. Um, and we can see how we can arrange a technical deep dive. But generally speaking, the technical deep dives you can see on the YouTube channel. Many of the videos are we have a number of 1 hour, maybe even hour and a half deep dives for the various repositories. So yeah, please take a look at that. That will be very helpful. Some people say that they're not familiar with the various skills, the technologies. Um, there are there are three repositories, and so there are lots of technologies that are available that may fit in your skill set. So there's Flutter for the mobile app under Talawa. Under Talawa API, there's Node.js, MongoDB, and GraphQL. You may not necessarily know GraphQL, but it's fairly easy to pick up. As a matter of fact, we decided upon it once students asked me about using GraphQL, and we migrated over to it. So I had to learn GraphQL myself. And at my age, I think I did fairly well. So I'm sure that you guys would be able to work with it fairly easily. I think there's TypeScript for the Talawa admin portal. So there's a wide variety of technologies that you can take a look at, and there's time to learn some of it, but don't worry about some of this other stuff. Let's see what I see. What else do I see here? So I've gone through. So Mitul, I hope I've asked your question. Meha, the Slack channel is listed on the various documentation sites that we've just spoken about. Um, a training was, I'm just replying to, I think there's a question about training. I think that's Akhilesh. Right, so Akhilesh, in terms of formal training, no, there won't be. I don't think that's going to be something that we can do because we're going to be expecting you to have at least some amount of knowledge of the various technologies. So I think that is going to be important. So you're going to have to take some amount of initiative to get familiar with things. So please, 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 please go take a look at our documentation, listen to the videos, and I think you'll get a very good idea as to what we want to achieve. You will find people on the Slack channel and in the issues, etc., to be very accommodating. We're we are a welcoming group. I spend quite a lot of my time as the president of the Palisades Foundation, making sure that we have the right type of culture on the on the Slack channel and just generally in the repository. You're not going to find people making you feel small or inadequate. I do not like that, and I make sure I monitor it very closely to make sure. So do not feel afraid. Just go straight ahead and ask. All right, let's just see. So let's take a look. We have Richa Singh who's asking a question. Do we have to precisely stick to the tech stack mentioned in the project? Um, we would definitely prefer to do that. A lot of work has been done with the existing tech stack to rewrite stuff at this point in such a short time. The 3 months would probably not be suitable. So we are looking more towards people thinking about alternative methods of doing what we're doing using the existing technologies rather than rewriting in completely new technologies. If we rewrite in new technologies, then there's no guarantee that the mentors will be able to help you, and then to know what the various interactions would be. Okay, so I think that's going to be important. Where can I learn about Talawa, Reacher? Again, please take a look at the repos. If you don't know where to start, just go to palisades.org, and there are links there that will link you to all these other sites that I spoke to you about. Um, all right, so Animesh, let's see what this says. A specific tech experience required. Um, no, I wouldn't say that there's specific tech experience. What we want to make sure of is that you can do what you say you're going to do, and that the ideas that you are bringing are mentioning in your application are worthwhile and will make a difference in the direction of what we want to try to achieve. One of the things that we really want to try to achieve is to make sure that we can launch Talawa as some sort of a cloud platform in future. And the reason for this is because Palisades Foundation is a non-profit, unlike many of the other organizations in the GitHub Externship. And we need to find a means of earning an income. And we would like to launch a cloud program so that we can earn an income and then sponsor further internships for students. And we've made this very, very clear from the very, very beginning. You'll hear it over and over again in a number of videos that you will hear online. And so that's important for us. So anything that you can think of that would make that goal better or um, uh, make the application more useful to community-based organizations, I think that would be good. So a question that just came in was, does intermediate level experience in Flutter is enough to join the org? I would think so. I think I think that would be quite quite easy to achieve. There are a number of good Flutter. If you're not familiar with Flutter, there are a number of good resources that you can take a look at. There's a I think Udemy. No, it's not Udemy. It might be Udemy. Has a number of Flutter courses. I think I did one of them to get myself familiar with Flutter and do a number of things. So please take a look. That would be very useful. I think there's a lady named Alisa Chen, I think from the Code Brewery or some name with a brewery. That's the name of the organization. Her video is very, very, very good. I've done a number of them, but hers is probably the best of them all. All right, let's see what else we have.
I want to ask
Yes, go
one
ahead.
final question, Peter,
Sure.
and then we let you go.
Okay.
Uh, what? How do these potential externs impress you with a one-pager note that you're looking at? What should they include and not include in that note?
Oh, that's another good question. I think you've almost stumped me, but I'm going to answer it. Um, Show us what you've done in GitHub prior. That really helps to give us an idea. Participate in the issues. Show that participation. Make sure that the issues that you are working on are issues that are meaningful. And, and so don't just create your own issues, ask to be assigned it, and show us what you've got. Show us how you can make a difference, even if it's in the smallest sense. We're looking for people whose code is well documented, that there's a good logic, that the code does not ramble in very large, long files, that the code is well has comments in there that make sense to us. Those sorts of things are very important, and also try to, as much as possible, prove that you have some sort of a relationship with your mentors. Use the Slack channel a lot to try and get in contact with them. And once again, the mentors can easily be identifiable by looking at the closed pull requests and seeing who those reviewers are. So we're almost out of time. Maybe you could just do one more question, and then I think it'll be great. Yes, Vedant, that's exactly who it is. Angela Yu from the App Brewery. That's the that's the one that you want to be looking at. Thank you very much for reminding me about that. Okay. Yes, you can mention your own projects related to the tech stack, um, and maybe even do something that would be also good if you can do screen captures and maybe have that included. Links to a YouTube video of your screen capture might be useful as well. That will also help. So we only have 2 more minutes, and I know that the GitHub Externship guys have to go to another call right after this. But thank you very much, and I hope this information has been very good for you, and I really, really, really hope that you can apply and make the best of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter, for your time. And I know it's very early for you. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll keep doing these more sessions and keep you engaged. And these externs, I'm sure, would learn from your experience immensely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, there's one last one. I haven't done any open source contributions. What do I do? Start making an open source contribution to the Palisades organization right now. And don't stop. Don't wait. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.